When you're talking pure power and bulletproof engineering, Mopar stands tall. Over decades, they've churned out engines that didn't just move cars, they made legends. So today, we're counting down the 10 most iconic engines Mopar ever built. From indestructible 6 cylinders to earth-shattering Hemis. Let's dive in. Number 10, the 225 Slant 6, the unstoppable underdog. Sure, Mopar's reputation rests on its roaring V8s, but don't sleep on their straight 6s. In particular, the 225 Slant 6, nicknamed the Leaning Tower of Power, wasn't built to break speed records, it was built to survive Armageddon. Born in the early 60s, this engine ran for nearly 30 years, stuffed into everything from compact cars to work trucks. And no matter what you threw at it, bad fuel, neglect, high mileage, it just kept running. Some old school fans even argue the earlier 170 Slant 6 was technically better, but the 225 is the one that made history. It was so solid that engineers used it as the backbone to create the Australian 265 Hemi 6, which is a wild story for another time. Number 9, the 318 V8. Quiet workhorse turned legend. This is the one that showed up everywhere. And for good reason. The 318 V8 was Mopar's go-to engine from the 50s through the early 2000s. Its first incarnation, the Poly 318, had a unique combustion chamber design, but it was the LA and later Magnum versions that solidified its place in Mopar lore. With strong internals, bulletproof reliability, and surprisingly decent fuel economy, this was the everyman's engine. Simple, tough, and just enough muscle. Whether in a Dart, a Ram, or a Diplomat cruiser, the 318 never let you down.
Number 8.
5.7-liter Hemi, the revival king. When Dodge brought back the Hemi name in 2003, they had a lot to live up to, and the 5.7-liter Hemi delivered. It wasn't the biggest or most powerful of the Gen 3 Hemis, but it was the one that restarted it all. From muscle cars to pickups to SUVs, the 5.7 proved itself to be a versatile beast with torque for days and a thunderous exhaust note. Is it perfect? No, but it's still in production after 20-plus years for a reason. It works, growls, it gets the job done. Number 7, 426 Max Wedge, the predecessor to Domination. Now this is the other 426, the one that came before the legendary Hemi. The Max Wedge started as a 413 RB block back in '59 and quickly evolved into a torque-happy powerhouse that dominated early drag racing. These engines weren't subtle. They were built for speed and power, plain and simple. And while their glory days were short, their legacy lives on as the platform that eventually birthed the monster Hemis and the towering 440s that came later. Number 6, 383 Magnum, the overlooked big block hero. Stuck in the shadow of its bigger brother, the 383 was Mopar's middleweight champion and an underrated gem. With a shorter stroke and lower deck height, the 383 revved hard and stayed cool doing it. Chrysler dropped this engine into everything from Chargers to C-bodies, and it consistently delivered the goods. Over 2 million units were produced, and with some basic bolt-ons, these things could outmuscle a stock 440, making it one of the best performance per dollar options even today. Number 5, 440 Magnum, the torque titan. Now we're talking heavy hitters. The 440 Magnum was the torque monster of the Mopar lineup. Born from the same RB family as the Max Wedge, this engine was a brute, especially when equipped with the 6-pack triple carb setup. It powered some of the fastest cars of the era, Roadrunners, Super Bs, Chargers, and even made appearances in RVs and trucks. But in muscle cars, it turned them into quarter-mile killers. By 1969, with 390 plus horsepower in the six-pack configuration. The 440 was out here setting records and snapping neck. Number 4, 340 LA, the small block slugger. If you think only Chevy and Ford made killer small blocks, think again. The 340 LA engine was Dodge's not-so-secret weapon. Launched in '68, this lightweight V8 came alive in A-body muscle cars like the Duster 340 and Dart Swinger. But when Mopar added a six-pack in 1970 and dropped it into the TA Challenger and AAR CUDA, the 340 became a giant killer. Rated at just under 300 horsepower, but making much more in reality. It was a corner-carving, high-revving menace that embarrassed bigger engines regularly. 331 Firepower, the Hemi that started it all. Before Hellcats, before Elephant motors, there was the 331 Firepower. Introduced in 1951, this was Mopar's first engine with hemispherical combustion chambers. And while it didn't carry the Hemi name yet, the DNA was there. It was born out of wartime tech, designed for high-altitude performance, and proved to be extremely efficient and powerful for its era. Producing 180 horsepower in the early 50s was no joke. It laid the groundwork for every Hemi that followed. Respect the roots. Number 2, 6.2-liter Hellcat, the supercharged sensation. In 2015, Dodge hit the NOS button on reality with the 6.2-liter supercharged Hellcat V8. It wasn't just powerful, it was absurd. With 707 horsepower, the Hellcat Challenger Charger and later the Trackhawk SUV became instant icons. No one saw it coming and no one was ready for it. This engine kicked off the modern horsepower war and turned Dodge into a brand for unapologetic speed junkies. It spawned demons, red eyes, jailbreaks, you name it. But the original Hellcat, that's where the madness began. Number 1, 426 Hemi, the elephant that crushed the competition. Here it is, the GOAT. The 426 cubic inch Hemi was built with one goal in mind: win races. Nicknamed the Elephant for its massive size and even bigger presence, this Gen 2 Hemi came to life in 1964 and dominated NASCAR. Mopar engineers took the Wedge engine design, threw it out the window, and went back to their hemispherical roots. The result? An engine so powerful, it was banned from racing unless sold to the public. So Dodge did just that. Street versions ended up in Chargers, CUDAs, and Roadrunners, creating some of the most feared machines ever to hit the asphalt. This wasn't just an engine, it was a weapon of mass acceleration. From workhorse six cylinders to track-ready monsters, Mopar's engine legacy is unmatched. They didn't just build motors, they built mythology. Which one was your favorite? Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and buckle up, because this is just the beginning.